good morning, children. Well, in today's class of economic application, we shall take up a new topic, and that is factors of production. Okay, it's lesson number 4. Well, in today's class, we will talk about what is production and creation of utility and the factors of production. That is 4 factors of production we're going to touch today. Okay, briefly, that is. In coming up class, we are going to talk about this in detail, right? Well, to begin with, first of all, what is production? Well, according to Adam Smith, the father of economics, Adam Smith, according to him, what is production? Production means creation of material goods only. When we say material goods here means that goods that can be seen, that can be touched, okay, and that have a definite shape and size. All right, for example, say table, chair, desk, etc. Okay, but according to but modern economists, they do not agree to this viewpoint, and according to modern economists, production is an activity that creates utility, or rather that creates economic utility in goods. That is the viewpoint of modern economist. Okay, so altogether, in simple language, what is production then? Well, production is a process of creating utility or value in the goods to satisfy human wants. Okay. All right. Now, for example, let's give an example of production. Like, say a very good example we can give is making a table out of a wood by a carpenter is an example of creation of utility. Now, when we talk about creation of utility, there are various ways. How utility are created, that we are going to discuss now. Okay. So, what are the different ways of creating utility? In this context, we are going to talk about four ways of creating utility. Okay, utility can be created in many ways. First, for example, by changing its form. That is called form utility. Utility also can be, created by changing its place. That's called place utility. Then we have time utility. Then service utility. So briefly, we're going to discuss this. 4 ways of creating utility in detail. All right. The first way of creating utility is what? Form utility. Okay. Now, what do you mean by form utility then? Well, when utility in a goods is created by changing its form or shape, it is called what? Form utility. Okay. Like, for example, a tailor creating a garment out of a piece of cloth. All right. When a tailor, by a simple piece of cloth, when a tailor converts that piece of cloth into a beautiful garment, then what happens? A utility is created. Okay. How it is created? By changing its form. All right. A simple linen may not be that useful or may not have that much of value, but when a tailor converts it into a simple linen or a simple cloth into a beautiful garment, then some utility is increased or value is increased. So that is called form utility. By changing form, we are creating a utility. So that's form utility. All right. Then we have a second type of utility that we're going to talk about is place utility. Now, what is place utility then? Utility in goods can be created or increased when they are transformed from one place to another place. So utility can be increased or created by even changing its place. All right. Like, for example, say transportation of sand from a river to a place of construction. Okay, so when you go, that in river bank, you'll see stretches of sand lying just there, no? So stretches of stretches of sand just lying in the river bank would be of no use, or it would be useless or no value if it just lies there like that. But if if that sand is carried or transported from that place to a place of construction, then the utility or the value of the sand will increase, isn't it? Now that sand can be used for the construction of our house or anything, So utility can also be created by changing its place from one place to another place. So that is called what? Place utility. Okay. Then we have time utility. Now, what's time utility then? See, creation or addition of utility is also possible through change of time. You understood? How is it? Let's try to understand with the help of an example. Like for example, during winter season we get plenty of green peas, isn't it? Fresh peas. Okay, so so by storing this fresh peas or green peas in a cold storage when they are available in plenty, and making it available at the time of what? At the time where they are in short. Okay, when the supply is short, when you make it available at that time, then what happens? Its utility increases, its value also increases, isn't it? So by storing a certain thing for a certain period of time, or rather when it is plentifully available, okay, when you store it in a cold storage and make it available at the time of shortage, you can also create a utility. So that's called time utility. All right, then we have another type of utility, that is service utility. Now see, a utility can also be creating by rendering or giving various kind of services, like a service of a doctor, like a service of a teacher, okay, like a service of an engineer, etc. are included in service utility. All right, so see, so in conclusion, in short, we can say that creating utility is very, very important, or it's a necessary condition. It's a necessary condition of what? Production activity. Okay, so creation of utility is a very, very necessary condition for what? Condition of production activity, for any activity that we talk about. Understood? So in context to this, now we will see the factors of production, which is the main, which is the main lesson that we are going to discuss today. Here, briefly, we are going to see the 4 factors of production. Okay. Now, before that, what do you mean by, factors of production then? Well, just before this, we saw production. Now we're going to talk about the various factors of production. Okay. What do you mean by factors of production then? Well, factors of production are various inputs that are needed for the creation of goods and services. Okay, so the factors of production is nothing but there are various kinds of inputs that are needed to create goods and services. All right, so in this context, the factors of production can be broadly classified into 4 categories. Okay, we can broadly classify factors of production into 4 categories. First is the land, second is labor, third is capital, and the last one is the enterprise or the organization. Okay, now let us see this briefly. Well, first of all, we will see what land is. All right, first factor of production. Okay, the first requirement, for the production. The very first requirement for the production is what? It's the land. So, as a factor of production, land includes not only the surface of the earth or the surface of the soil, but it also includes everything. I mean, it includes all the free gifts of nature that nature has given. What are those? Like air, water, rivers, forest, minerals, etc. All these are also included in the land. So land, when we say land doesn't mean just surface of the earth or surface of the soil. Understood? It includes all these free gifts of nature, which is which are economically useful to human being. So land includes everything. Okay, so what is the second factor then? Well, the second requirement for the production, the very second requirement for the production is the labor or the workforce. Okay, so when we say labor, by labor we mean all types of human work, whether it is physical or mental, which has been done with the view of earning money. So that's labor. Okay, so the second factor of production is what? Labor. First is land, and then is the labor. Then third is what? Third requirement is what? Capital. Okay, so the third important factor of production is capital. What are capital then? Well, capitals are all man-made durable goods which are used for the production or which are used for the further production of another good. Understood? So that is capital. So what are some examples of capital then? Well, say for example, machines, tools, buildings. Okay, so these are some examples of capital which is used for the further production of other goods. All right, now let us see the fourth factor. Well, the fourth factor is the enterprise or an organization. All right. See, enterprise or an organization is an important factor of production. In fact, it's a very important factor of production. Why? Because no production, no production is possible without bringing the above mentioned. What did I mention above? I mentioned the three factors of production. Remember, the land, labor, and the capital. So why organization or enterprise is very important. As I said, because no production is possible without bringing all these three factors of production together, and by together and using it in a very proportionate manner. Understood? Okay. So here it is the organizer or an enterpriser who brings all these factors of production together. Here it is the enterpriser or an organizer who takes this task of bringing all these factors of production together for the process of production. Okay, understood? So this enterpriser or enterpriser or entrepreneur also you can say, or an organization, is an important, very important factor of production. In fact, okay. So these are the four factors of production that I said just now. That is land, labor, capital, and organization. Okay, so this is briefly what I said today. In today's class, we're just going to conclude by this. In coming up class, we are going to discuss in detail about these four factors of production. All right. So till then, stay connected and stay tuned. Thank you.